another Sanity Check podcast. We're live, we're here, and we are ready to entertain and possibly educate. Today, the topic of discussion, which is an actual topic, where last time it was a little chaotic, but that's okay. The topic for today is DM tips and how to get started being a DM. Or, Dungeon Master.
Or Game Master, depending on what you play.
Yeah. So, let's get off the bat and just let's define what a GM, Game Master, is. It's somebody who is running a game, pretty much. They are the referee, they are the storyteller, they're the NPCs, they are...
God, basically.
They're God. Thanks, honey. Thank you for that. Yeah, you're pretty much God. Your whole thing is you're pretty much a mixture of a referee and a storyteller. That's the main thing, is that you're supposed to know a good portion of the rules, and then you're supposed to
Oh no.
Oh no. Basically,
what are we supposed to do?
Basically, they need to know the core rules as well as how to, and as well as they guide the players on their journey. Basically, they build the world around them, and they basically had to leave the players and to interact with them.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Hey.
Okay, sorry about that.
I basically finished up what you were saying about the Dungeon Master, so we're good.
Pretty much. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna give out some tips, tell our stories if we have some, and then just generally what to look out for if you're gonna start. Okay. So I will let Dathan. I'll let you start.
But wait, what were we doing? Like, giving out tips?
Yeah, tips, tricks, stuff like that. Like, how do you feel about being a DM? All that stuff. So I'm going to mute my mic.
So basically, all you gotta do when you become the Dungeon Master or Game Master is basically just play what makes you feel comfortable with. It doesn't have to be like, oh my god! Wow! Hey. Gotta follow. Thanks, man.
Woohoo.
Anyway, what was I saying? Basically, it's just the general sense of a style you want to play as. Like, just basically gotta find your voice in find your style, find your voice in the. Oh, let me turn just in the music a little bit with the game and such like that. In another sense, you can learn from experiences from other dungeon masters as well. Like basically just like watch like shows like Critical Role or Adventure Zone and all that, and just basically just listen in how they do it. Like you don't exactly have to copy it, but you get the general sense of how you do it, and eventually you can find a way to do it yourself. Just be confident in what you do though too as well. That's the other tip too. And don't be afraid to like twist some things too as well. Just go with the flow and such. And that's all I'm gonna say. So
Lovely.
I guess Winter, you can start too.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll be last. I was just linking up the stream or linking links to the stream. So continue.
Okay. Well, I've only DM'd once, but I really, really enjoyed it and will continue to do so in the future. I'm already working on a bigger campaign for later. I was really anxious and afraid to DM at first. um, but like Sheba said, you gotta have confidence and you gotta just do it and get over that hump of being afraid. Because it's really fun. And also, it's just about hanging out with your friends and having a good time and getting to express yourself around people that you're comfortable with. So yeah, like Shia LaBeouf says, just do it.
Just fucking do it.
Yeah, exactly. Especially because that's the only way you're gonna get practice. It's one of those things where you just you have to like experience it and deal with the hiccups and maybe this idea isn't working so well. Well, then I'll tweak it here because that's the only way you're gonna get better and feel more comfortable and have it be more enjoyable.
Pretty much.
And
Absolutely.
yeah. And also make sure that you're with a group of people that are not going to be too judgmental and they're cool with like different play styles and different ways of doing things because every DM kind of has their own thing, their own style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. So, am I still on, by the way?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Take a shot.
Oh, take a shot, guys.
Take a shot every time you
So-
ask.
Yep. Well, you're gonna hear it a lot today because my internet is being shit. Anyway, so I guess I'll go. I've been DMing literally for, I want to say, at least 13 years since I was like 17. It's, I will say this, there will be times where you will fail, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with you screw up or something like that. Like you didn't do a storyline right, or someone wasn't happy with the way you did things or something like that. Just know that you talk to the players, and this is also for players too. If you're not having a good time, or your DM or your storyteller screwed up or something like that, let them know so then they can correct that mistake
Please.
afterwards. Please.
Please, communication is the key. That's another
Don't be
tip.
afraid to communicate.
Yes.
That's another tip too. Communication is key. Please,
Yes, it
please
is.
stay communicating with other players as well as the DM. This goes to the DM too. Please make sure you're communicating well with your players instead of just keeping them in the dark. And make sure you have consistency on scheduling. Sometimes you'll do a once in a while thing, or maybe you'll just have actually like a weekly thing that Big Iron, myself, and Winter are doing right now. Sorry,
Yeah.
I referred to myself as in third person.
The Sheba.
Sup, scrub? Hey, man.
What's up? That is my sibling.
Ooh, I apologize for that. Let me.
So, no, but being a DM, it's kind of like you're kind of like a novelist or like an author, but instead of you just being the single vision, you have like the single vision like a writer would have, you have participation with other people. So it's kind of almost the most, some people are going to get a laugh out of this, it's the most socialist kind of form of entertainment you can possibly have because you're a group.
Yeah, your characters are participating.
Yeah,
in
it's
your
all
book.
Yeah, pretty much. And you're not the dictator, you're not the single vision, and that's okay. Like, and that's another thing, like if you do have a singular vision of a game, it's okay to feel a little disappointed when it doesn't go the way you want it to do or go. That's okay. But just remember that it's not just you. You're not you may be God, but the players are demigods, so they have a say in what's going on. throughout the narrative, and that's also, you know, completely valid. I'm just
there's a way
reading.
to-
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm just reading it too.
No, I couldn't read it. My internet's weird, so I have to keep the stream off.
Oh, my sibling just ate a whole pile of dumplings. I wish I was better at RP, but I have literally one brain cell. Same.
It's all right. Hey, it's all right if you can't. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Like usually this kind of topic, like with sorry, this kind of thing with being a DM or GM or storyteller or whatever. Basically, the ringleader of the game. I don't want to say God because that sounds way too high on that totem pole. Coordinator,
Yeah.
ringleader, the referee. Anyway, so basically, I'm trailing back to like when I say have confidence and all that. It's not an easy thing. Basically, you need to like be like this. You do need to like develop some kind of social skills with that too. Basically, this is a good way to do it. Let your voice be heard with your creativity as well. So please, for the love of God, just try. And it's it's all right. It's okay to fail. It's okay to everything else. Like, if your friends, the players, are okay with what you do, then you're gonna be fine. You're just here to have fun. You're here to have fun. They're here to have fun. Everybody's here to have fun. They're not gonna like basically gonna breathe down your nudge you or bring you down the net going. Dare you?
Yeah, you know, this doesn't have to be like, you don't have to role play like an Oscar-winning actor or write like a best-selling author. You're just having some fun with your friends. You know?
Don't be afraid to improvise too with story.
Oh, definitely.
Be flexible. I'm flexible.
That's the thing I would always recommend people is if you are kind of thinking of like a campaign story, even if it's like a one shot or it's like a huge spanning game, I would not worry about the super big details. Just make an outline, like a 4-5 point outline of what you want in the game. So I did that with Werewolf the Apocalypse, for example. This is one that's it's one of, I guess, one of my well-liked games. I know certain people here liked it. You're not right, honey. So, can you hear me okay?
Take another shot.
Okay. Yep, take a shot. So, the one thing is you really don't, shit, I almost lost my train of thought. Don't worry too much about making like this big epic narrative. Just focus on what you want to do with the game. So if you want to do, let's say, like with Werewolf the Apocalypse, you want an epic. You want kind of like, you want to do a Lord of the Rings style, like fantasy epic, then just write down what you want to do with that.
Have a beginning, have a beginning, have a middle, have an end.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, how you want to begin it, or how do you want to start it, how do you want to get to the the middle part, and how you want to get to the end. That is important. Everything else in between is also important, but that should be saved, in my opinion, for the players. They fill in the blanks.
You just guide them to adventure, and then they do what they need to do, and you just provide them with characters, enemies, and whatnot. It can be you can either if you really want to plan all that stuff out, I would not recommend it because I'm gonna be honest with you. Don't plan things. Like don't really plan things. Like if you're like thinking, oh, this event is gonna happen, and then I'll have this big bad guy and all that. No, it's not gonna happen. Be prepared. Improvise.
Yeah, you can plan them, but the same like advice that they give writers is be prepared and don't be afraid to lose big chunks. Like just get rid of whole chunks that aren't gonna happen.
Yeah. Just call them. Yeah, but no. Oops, sorry.
I was about to say, like, the thing you're gonna do, that this thing you've been waiting for to do, it may not happen the way you have it because, well, players are unpredictable.
Yeah.
Players are the chaos element, and that's okay. Honestly, that makes games interesting.
We're all
But
misfits.
yeah, but the thing is, also don't be afraid to either, like, it's kind of like a balance. Have an actual narrative, seriously. Like, if your game is literally just let's just go dungeoneering and such, or dungeon diving and stuff like that, which is pretty completely fine in my opinion. But if you want to make like an actual story out of it, it's a little harder when you don't plan anything.
Yeah.
Why are we going to the dungeon? What's in the dungeon? What is specific in the dungeon? Why are we going into the dungeon?
And this is not just D&D, this is other games too. But it also depends on what kind of game you're kind of looking for. If you want to play traditional Dungeons and Dragons where it's all about group of weirdos who barely tolerate each other going in to get money and to get loot in a dungeon and just kill stuff, perfectly valid. Perfectly valid. Nothing wrong with that. But if you want to do something that's a little bit more narrative driven and such, you will have to plan accordingly, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But also another tip, this is a tip for DMs and in general, is review the material you're playing. Review it as much as you can.
Don't have to go by word, but at least get the general sense.
Get most of the rules. You don't have to know, at level 15 a warlock gets this ability or whatever. You don't have to know that, but always always review the main focus of the games and such. So it's like combat, that kind of stuff. Like, know that, and you should be golden because your players usually will know what to do.
Do not be afraid. Sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead.
I was about to say, do not be afraid to use references. Like, you can make a cheat sheet for yourself. You can make a cheat sheet for all your players too. I would recommend doing that, as well as it is not discourageable to have the books that you're being using for D&D or any other game too, the reference guides and all that. That's what they're there for. Like, you're not be like, yes, like you have to like open up your third eye or anything like that. Yes, I know everything, the rules, the cantrips, it's everywhere and stuff like that.
D&D enlightenment.
You have to sniff, or you have to smoke the red spice to become one with yourself.
I become one with the ether.
Yeah.
Hello. Welcome.
So we were talking about making notes for the campaign.
Yeah.
And I looked up mine. I have 30 pages.
I think we lost.
That's a bit much.
Yeah. I mean,
but I'm also like, I like writing, so it's not a big deal for me. But not everybody has to do that many pages of notes.
No, I mean, I'm just basically just had basically have note cards.
Yeah, that totally works too. It's whatever works for. I'll probably shave mine down and have smaller amounts of notes once it gets closer.
Sorry about that. Anyway.
That's okay.
So basically, we're talking about like having notes on the side.
Okay.
Yeah.
That.
Because I got 30 pages of notes.
Oh, that's nothing. So I have my personal campaign setting. Pretty much my wife to be. She's pretty much my wife at this point.
Beyonce.
Yeah. She's seen my personal campaign book that I did. It's for my campaign setting. It is. I didn't count. I think. How many pages was that, honey? Was it pretty big? It was like at least about 40 or 50 pages worth of lore.
That's nothing.
Damn.
It's a lot.
I'm confident, though.
Well, I've been writing it. Since high school, so
Oh,
yeah. So
nice.
yeah, but yeah. There's nothing wrong with having cheat sheets, having side notes, stuff like that. I do it all the time myself. Also, another thing, if you're being a DM and the best way to enhance the session, music. Seriously, music enhances everything.
If you want to be,
Even if
oh, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Even if it's just like enhancing the mood with like ambience, if that's all you're doing, that's actually a really good thing.
Like we're doing right now. By the way, this music is provided by Arcane Anthems. Thanks for letting us use the music for our podcast.
Woohoo.
Thanks, bud. But yeah, it's just like music is important. It's and sounds are important because you want your players to feel something while they're playing. Now, this is before I used to play in the dinosaur days where we didn't use any of that. It was just the table and your materials, and that's it. There's no music, no nothing like that. Did you hear me okay?
Another shot.
Okay. Take another shot, guys.
That's 3 or 4.
Three shots. There should be like a counter on the side.
I'm actually adding it up right now.
Thank you. Hold on a second, guys. Hey, babe.
Anyway, I'm just gonna tackle back to the whole music thing. It is you can have a perfect you don't have to have the perfect soundtrack, but all that, or you're kind of like me, is basically the usual our game groups mix master, because I know like what music to play and all that. Also kind of have like a little.
Yeah, you're good at that.
I have a little music experience too with that stuff, but I can also say, like, with all honesty. Sorry, I'm trying to find my words here. Anyway, it's perfectly okay to use soundtracks from other sources of material, and all that. Like how
definitely.
Like what we're using right now, we're using by somebody who literally gave the entire internet, including TikTok, permission to use their music and such, basically, and stuff like that. I even asked them hey, can we use your music for a podcast? So they're like, absolutely, and they're like, thanks, and stuff like that. So
that's awesome.
Hell, but I would say mix up the soundtrack a little bit too, the playlist a little bit. There's so much. You can't just blast Lord of the Rings music all fucking day.
I don't know what you're talking about. I do that anyway.
No, it's I love Lord of the Rings and all that, but throw some variety in it. Basically, such Elder Scrolls,
the Witcher soundtrack.
Witcher, Elder Scrolls,
Rammstein.
Fallout,
Rammstein. Disturbed.
Also, even just with one campaign, I think my habit is going to be using visuals, like a lot of pictures and images, more so than music. And that's an example of a DM style. Like, some people lean more into the ambient music, some people do more visuals, some people do voices. It's all just what people prefer to do, and all the different varieties and options.
I'm the guy who uses the ambient music, and the voices too. Like basically, I like to like actually act the characters that I'm playing as too.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I'm kind of a mix of all three. I try not to use one or the other more than the other. I try to get a nice happy medium. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't, but yeah. Another thing is with being a storyteller or something like that is before you even do a campaign, talk to your group, see what they want to play, what kind of game they want to play, because then you can get an idea what kind of group you're dealing with. I've been in groups where they didn't care about story. They didn't give two craps about anything like that. They were just
Yeah.
let's go hunt monsters, get loot, all that stuff. And then you have other um groups that are they're very much story focused. We want to tell, you know, we want to tell a bigger story and such. And there's either extremes or even the middle. There's nothing wrong with that. They are both valid. I've played in both groups, both or multiple types of groups and such. They're always fun. So, I mean, I will say this: there is something very satisfying in DMing a very gamey style kind of game. So you can just do like you can become your childhood fantasy of making a Gauntlet kind of game, like a sequel to Gauntlet or like Baldur's Gate, stuff like that. But yeah, like it's just kind of up to the group. Also, I guess this is more for me and Dathan. I mean, Winter, you've only dungeon mastered one game so far, but
Yeah, it was just a little one shot.
yeah, which is fine. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, I was about to say
What
that.
would you, what would you say is what for you guys and for those in the chat? What would you be what would be the most difficult game to DM? Like, what's one of the hardest ones? I have my answer, but I guess what would you?
I looked into Savage Worlds and GURPS. Those are pretty. I read the rules on that. It's pretty difficult. And like, I guess really old Cyberpunk before they revised the hell out of it and such like that. Can't really get going into too much detail about GURPS and Savage World. It's just basically there's a lot of like, there's like layers. In Cyberpunk, it gets kind of like,
oh, sorry, I dropped out for a second.
Okay.
Okay.
All I can say there too. I don't really have much of that. I'm sorry.
Oh, you said GURPS was one of the? Do you think is one of the hardest games to?
I said GURPS and Savage Worlds, and then
see that's the thing. Oh, sorry.
An old style Cyberpunk before the revision.
Agreed. Actually, you know what? I agree. I guess I'll go next because experience or something. I don't know. I'd say the hardest game to dungeon, to dungeon master is definitely, in my opinion, it's a clear tie between either Call of Cthulhu or 3.5 Dungeons and Dragons. Yes, you heard that. You heard that right. I said 3.5 Dungeons and Dragons, so that edition specifically.
Ooh, you better not let some of our friends hear that.
I know, right? I can only hear Ewok's knives sharpening.
You're going. I can hear him going.
Yeah, pretty much. He's being a filthy Frank right now. No, but the reasons why it's Call of Cthulhu is hard to DM because it's a horror game, and horror games are harder to do because you're meant to scare or slightly freak out your fellow players, and it's not easy to do that, by the way.
Yeah, your point is to make them uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable. It's easy to make them uncomfortable, but really scared. That's not easy, especially when they're all giggly little fuck asses. Yeah, not easy when that happens. Thank you. I would say, and another one, it would be 3.5 because there's so much material with that game.
Oh my god, there's so many fucking books. You think you think 5th edition had a lot of books? The 3.5 had fucking more, like 2 shelves.
I'll look up how much 3.5 had.
Like there is.
So,
oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
I was about to say, and there's like books for every fucking thing. Like, I am so glad that when 5th edition came out, it cut all that, like, basically cut all that stuff and basically simplified the fuck out of it. I mean, I love
trim the fat.
Yeah, I love 3.5. I love playing it. I don't mind playing it. It's just 5th edition just really kind of does it. What 3.5 is what like kind of like got people to like, you know, turn away from like Dungeons and Dragons for a time and stuff like that because it was just so much you can throw at people. So much
a lot to
throwing.
keep track of too. Yeah, because of all the like the stat details and.
I don't even want to think about the sheets.
Oh, the large amounts of sheets.
It's like a fucking portfolio.
It was a portfolio.
I have one. I basically be like, look at this is my portfolio. I kept being my Trapper Keeper.
No, but that's the thing. So I did look up how many books. There's exactly about 20 books.
I saw that comment, by the way. 0.5 Dweebs Rise Up.
Rise up! There is exactly at least about 20 books for 3.5.
Holy
20
fuck.
books. 20 official books.
20.
That
And Pathfinder is a variation of 3.5.
yeah, so
Yes.
if you want to add Pathfinder to that,
Yeah.
that too.
That's what I would say would be the typical one.
So much. It's like
5th edition currently has 14 books. It's getting
Really?
there.
It's getting close.
it's getting there. But it's been out for a while though, so
Yeah, it's been out since 14. Let me hold on. We'll get back on that. You guys do think.
yeah. But
Oh.
so to end my part is 3.5 was really difficult because there was so much material and there was also so much record keeping. So say like you have a group of 5 or 6 people you're playing. That's a pretty big group. Now you can usually just say, okay, you can only play from the core rule book. You'd be fine. You'd be okay.
Hey, you sure it's like 20 books?
Why?
There's more.
Oh, fuck. I said official. That's why.
No, because there's the supplements too.
Oh, shit. Anyway, but there's a lot. There's a fucking lot. But no, like, if you do just say, like, core rule books or anything like that, you'll be fine. But if you do, like, okay, anything goes, your party can consist of some of the weirdest, most complex, broken characters I've ever seen. But yeah, 3.5 is definitely up there. What would you say, Fee, or Winter? What would you say is probably
Pathfinder.
Pathfinder?
Yeah, just because of the same reasons with 3.5, there's just so much to keep track of. Maybe, like, I feel like if you're progressing as a DM and you're starting out, then you should start out in, like, small increments like with one shots, and then maybe 5 fifth edition, and then you can kind of work your way through the more complicated ones.
Yes.
I'm counting so far over 40.
So many
3.5.
books.
There might be like a portion of it that might be third edition. There's a difference. Third edition and 3.5. 3.5 is the revised edition. Don't go to 4. Don't ever go to 4.
I've never even tried 4.
You don't want to. It's a mess.
That's what I've heard.
What the hell's going on in the background? I realized, oh, it's the music.
Music.
Shuffle that. What else? Good. Man, I'm trying to think of other things. Yeah, I'm gonna adjust my mic a little bit.
Okay.
Oh, and we lost him.
I'm sure he will be back.
I say let's talk about like, you know, other ways to bring your story to life and all that.
Oh, Jesus. Sorry.
I brought up like, say, hey, let's talk about like what else can we bring, your story to life and all that. And I was about to say like, characters.
Yes. NPCs.
Mm-hmm.
The NPCs and the twists and turns and maybe your big bad guy and stuff like that, or bad guys.
Your big bad evil guy.
Yeah, I think I could go first on that.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
So, if you want to if you're feeling up to it and stuff like that, you can provide characteristics and some I guess personality flavor to your NPCs and all that. They don't have to be all they don't really have to be all out there. They can be like, hi, I'm the guy that sells the bread and all that, instead of like, hi, I'm the keeper, I'm the seller of wares of this wheat-based products. Would you like to know about my story about how I became a baker? Or the potion seller.
Potion seller. I'm going into battle.
It's if you're feeling confident enough with the storytelling, again, and we're gonna keep bringing that back. If you feel comfortable enough, that's gonna be the key words of the day. If you feel comfortable, don't go crazy with the characters and all. Don't really go crazy with the characters. Make sure you have don't hog up all the time with your NPCs and all that. Make sure, have your players interact with these characters too. They don't have to be they don't really have to the characters sometimes don't make sure the characters don't eat up as much time as the players, because this is not what the game is about. It's about the players is having fun in the adventure and all. That's all I gotta say. And if you actually know how to go do some good impressions and all that, or if you do impressions on the side, or you can actually do some voice acting or some voice work, go right ahead and add the little add that to that character too. Like I said about the baker, it could be like, hi, welcome, I'm the baker, would you like some papayas or maybe some pies that I'm baking here too? Or the I don't know, the dungeon keeper, oi, these guys are in jail for doing this and that. I'm here to keep the peace and all that. Stuff like that, that stuff.
Yeah. You can give him little personality quirks. He's got a peg leg or something. I don't know. We just finished Pirates.
Oh god.
So thinking of that.
Or make him his side hustle is actually marijuana selling, so he is getting baked. What's up,
Oh my
man?
goodness.
Oh, these brownies, they're so baked like I am.
Would you like some herbal essence?
Like the herbal essence. But well, another thing is
You wouldn't be able to
Another-
handle my potions. I'm sorry. I love that video of the potion seller.
The potion
If
seller.
you ever get- it's like
literally any NPC you really need is the potion seller.
like that is literally the greatest one man show I've ever seen.
It's so beautiful. No, but I guess who's next? Were you finished with NPCs or?
Yeah, I'm not gonna say about that. I'll tackle like the big bad guys later.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit. Winter, did you have anything about NPCs yourself?
Not about NPCs, but things to add flavor to the game.
Like what?
People could do, like, we talked about the music and the visuals and in-game stuff, but like people could also do little out-of-game things in real life. Like if in-game they get a letter requesting help, you could like handwrite a letter and put like a bow on it and
Yeah.
Props.
have a little props, have like a little chest with some coins in it when they find loot, or like
I'm guilty
make
of
a
that.
blue drink to represent potion. Like just little tiny things that could be fun for everybody.
I'm like a little guilty of that because I just for the campaign that I'm doing right now, I kind of painted. I basically took dice and just basically painted over them and be like, these are magical gems for the campaign and all that.
Nice. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Or just saying, cosplay as your character.
Yes,
do it.
yes.
I have this as a official policy. If you come to game dressed up as your character, I will give you free XP or anything like that.
If I lived anywhere near in person, I would totally dress up.
I know.
I mean,
well, in
you have a
our
webcam.
yeah, in our Pokemon game right now, in our Wednesday game, it's more we can't really dress up like our characters. So if you come with a Pokemon shirt, I will give you at least an extra 100 XP for showing up tonight like that, or that night like that. Yeah, it's
That's more like in real life stuff that you could do to use flavor.
well. Also, if you want to get like extra, if you want to do like if there's like a scary moment or something like that, you turn off the lights and like or lower the lights a little bit. Where I've done that before in Call of Cthulhu games, where I'll have a not like ambient chanting and I'll have the room lights dim and such.
We don't even have
Yes.
dimmable lights.
Spooky.
Beep 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 jeep boop. Peggy Sweetwater.
I think we lost them.
Oh no.
Oh no.
He's just having an extra rough time today.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I guess with add the extra experience, like, you know, like you said, you can do all that stuff at the, like you guys said, like basically like, you know, props, getting the lights and all that. But I'm, you know, kind of like what I do is I actually have like
Hi.
yeah, be ready for another shot. Thanks.
Get the shot ready.
All right,
Somebody's gonna be fucking dead by the time.
Hey,
Yeah.
non-alcoholic shots work too. I've been drinking tea.
There you go.
there. Now it's 4.
So, anyway, yes, Peggy Sweetwater was one of my favorite characters and that I've seen being played. That was my siblings character. Beep 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 jeep boop in the chat. So, yeah, that was her vampire character. So that was a pretty good one.
Nice. I like the name.
Yeah.
I actually for like the lights actually have like changeable have lights that actually change the colors and all that. Like I've been wanting to install it for the game, but I've been forgetting to do that. I've mostly been using them for like, when I stream and such.
Yeah, pretty much. I would say, well, another thing I've seen, and I've always wanted to do this, but I don't have the time nor the money to do it, is get a fog machine. And
wow.
I mean, Halloween is coming up. You might be able to get a cheap one.
True. But the places that we play game at, we could do it outside.
Yeah, that's possible. But anyway, perhaps,
maybe.
Anyway, okay. Let's get to bad guys. This is an important thing with DMs in particular. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first, Sheba?
You go first, because I got big things to say about them.
Got it. I'll just say it quick. Bad guys, there's so many ways to do them, and I always do this. Have a group of bad guys. Work with the big bad. Because then you can have a variety of different NPCs. So you have your big bad evil guy, and then you have his underlings. Make his underlings interesting. That's the big thing I always try to do. Sometimes they take over the campaign. Winter knows this. I mean, your cousin in Werewolf.
Oh,
He was a douche,
yeah.
super douche.
Mm-hmm. He was a good bad guy, though. I
Yes,
really hated him.
I wholesale just stole from that one dude from Game of Thrones.
Oh, Joffrey.
No, not Joffrey. Well, yes, Joffrey.
Oh,
but
Ramsay.
Also, yeah.
The other douche.
The other asshole.
Which one? There's multiple ones. It's like there's like a
even
list.
Bigger asshole.
Cersei?
No, she's a bitch.
There's a difference.
There is a clear difference. Anyway, but yeah, like don't be afraid to like make the person like the bad guy's underlings interesting. What I find really boring is when the bad guys are faceless and they have no taste to them. They're just bad for bad's sake. Give them motivation. But anyway, would you agree on that at least, you guys? Like,
yeah, and connect like you did with the cousin, connecting them to the characters.
Yes.
So there's a little more oomph behind them.
Yes, please. And if you don't have to make them immediately, just like they can form it over time. Like they're rival or they hate each other or something like that. So
yeah, the cousin was just a minor annoyance in the beginning.
And then he became one of the most evil, most powerful villains in the entire game.
Yeah.
So there's that. All right. Sheba.
Well, you already covered most of the parts I was just about to say.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. Whoops. But go ahead.
Well, it's gonna sound like a repeating it and all that, but
that's fine.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought. So how I do bad guys is basically like I basically have them like I usually do them like in groups of 3 and such like that. Like sometimes they can be like if I'm playing a game where they have like like if someone's playing with factions or their races and all that, just have a bad guy for each of those the 3 and stuff like that. Like for pirates, for example, I have one for the undead, I have one for humans, and I have one for the basically the merfolk that we're doing with the pirate campaign. Like basically,
yeah, you had variety.
Yeah, and stuff like that. But what really gives like just not just he covered the underlings. I'm talking about the real big bad and all that. The main bad guy and all that. Like he doesn't even have to be like appear right away, but like you can slowly like have this character like be in the background and stuff like that. Like it can't be like just like an horrible. It's just random Palpatine character that'd be like just in the background.
Everything is going to plan.
The suddenly like it just go suddenly it just shows up randomly like it was me all along and all that and stuff like that. Like really built them up, I would say. Like like to give them the motivation, why they do it and stuff like that. You can even make like if you want, you can make them sympathetic if you want to. Or like you can be not just sympathetic or relatable, just make them enough interesting and stuff like that. Hell, like the reason why they're doing it could be interesting itself too. Like it could be even could be like I have some villains who are basically going through a journey right now in some campaigns that I'm planning right now that basically will become the big basically like the big threat and stuff like that, but you kind of like have an understanding of why they're doing this and all that. You kind of and for like the audience, you kind of feel like you want to have like an audience perspective of this, like you kind of like want to see how it goes, but you don't want them to succeed and stuff like that. It's just you got like how I do it is just I want to make my villains basically like you kind of want them to win, but then again in a way for your players to defeat them is already a good enough journey's end for them too. Like it's not just about the big bad villains themselves and all that and such. Like it's just about like what else they can do, what have they done to the players, what they have done to the world itself, like how they affect how their own actions can affect the world that you're playing in right now. This is the bad guys, the villains are basically the biggest parts of your story too. You don't even have to have a big bad guy at the end. Like if you're doing like a one shot or something like that, you could just be like,
definitely.
It's just basically just have like a oh it's just these guys or they were there all along. But if you're really doing like a long campaign, like you gotta have to like plan these guys out sometimes, and like basically they don't have to be like right away and stuff like that. Like as they appear and form, like take that experience with the interactions with the player and just continue on with that and all that. Like
let it simmer for a bit.
Like fuck, when I did Cyberpunk, there were some interesting villains that I made too. Like some of them made good points on what and why they do it too, and some of them do what they do just because and stuff like that.
Because it's who they are.
Is what they were made to do or something like that.
Yeah, it's their being pretty much.
Yeah. Sorry if that was like long-winded and stuff like that, but that's like how I feel about like villains and all that.
And this is my TED Talk. No, just kidding.
It makes sense. You gotta have them fleshed out and fully formed and really affecting the world they're in.
And it's okay to have influences from other media too, from like the big bad guys. Like hell, if you want to have a Thanos, go right ahead, have a Thanos and all that. Just change up a little bit and such.
Well, another thing, I guess. Did you have anything to add to this, Winter, about villains, like anything to that?
No, I mean, I've done one shot and I did the big bad.
I mean,
super powerful because it was a one shot.
Right. I mean, she gave a player's perspective.
Yeah, but it's basically like what you guys have been saying. As long as they impact the world and characters a little bit, and you might
stop playing
run
with this
into
thing.
them sprinkled in throughout the campaign.
I'm playing with a Tic Tac plastic cover thing, and I keep opening and closing, and the mic's picking it up. I'm like, shit, I'm sorry.
He's fidgeting.
I'm stimming.
It's okay. I would say, well, I guess my favorite kind of villain. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have anything else, Winter? I didn't want to interrupt you at all.
Nah, I'm good.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry if I did.
No.
Okay. My favorite kind of villain. You guys know this. I love villains who are evil for evil's sake. I love villains who they know what they're doing is wrong and they don't care. They like doing it because it's Sheba said, it's who they are. To me, that's more interesting because I think the problem is if you are going to do a sympathetic character, you need to do it right. It's not easy.
Like if this character's doing the, like, say one villain is doing it because he's doing it for the sake of his cause and all that, and he's what
Yes.
he, like, I'm gonna say an example, Killmonger. His cause was because he felt what he felt was right, even though it feels right, but it's kind of wrong in this, like, wrong in the sense and all that. It's
He
right.
did it in the wrong way.
Like, yes, it's right for this, but really, it's really wrong. If you really put your perspective in that.
Yeah. Where I like I like villains who are literal incarnations of evil. Like one of my favorite villains of all time is Darkseid.
Yeah, here
He's
we
one
go.
of my favorites.
Ooh, yeah.
No, it's like, here we go. He's gonna whip it out.
I'm gonna whip it out. Darkseid is one of my favorite characters because there's no sympathy with him. There's no tragic backstory. There's nothing about him that you can go, oh, I feel bad for you. His cause is total domination of everything.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is interesting because how does a person, any being, any sapient being, get to that point of shedding your mortal almost humanity and such, and you become something greater than that, and it's something so evil and so terrifying that your very presence causes every hero or every character that's not even a hero, like, even you can have villains like bad guys who are so bad the other bad guys are like, fuck, we need to stop him.
Yeah, you don't fuck with him.
Yeah, they're like, he's so bad that we gotta stop him because he's gonna ruin everything for everyone. That to me is that's my favorite kind of bad guy, is kind of like that kind of villain. And and that to me is more interesting because I'm kind of, certain media has kind of made me really sick and tired of villains having sympathetic backstories. Let villains be villains. Let them be bad guys. You don't have to be sympathetic, by the way. Just be bad. It's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, there's a variety.
What was that? What
I
did you say, Sheba?
said sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. No. There's no problem if you're gonna do sympathetic villains. I just feel that it's a little overdone. But if you can do it right, if you can do it right and you do it in the most right way, it is really impactful. But just keep in mind, you don't have to do that. You don't have to make sympathy for a character. You can just literally make them evil, and that's fine too.
It's kind of the same way I feel about the intrigue, the secret villains that
Yes.
they do. Like, if it's done right, then it can be great. But sometimes it's not done properly, and it just kind of comes off as really overdone. You're just like, oh, what a surprise! It's that villain.
Oh, you mean the guy who it's all according to plan villain? The guy who's like, I have it under control.
Yeah, and they're like, it's like a big reveal. And like I said, if it's done correctly, that can be really cool because you're like, oh my god, I never suspected this one. But then if it's not done, it can be kind of predictable and overdone.
Not great.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh no, it's that guy. Oh, what will we ever do?
Yeah. Well, my oh yeah, go on.
Like, from a movie perspective, that's how we feel. But like, I think applying that to a D&D game, some of that is okay if they can kind of figure it out, because the players are playing through and figuring it out, and so it kind of offers a feeling of satisfaction if maybe they knew that was the big bad and they put the clues together, kind of thing. So I guess it just depends.
For my Cyberpunk campaign, I've been dropping massive hints at who's the big bad guy in that one, the big bad
Oh,
evil.
definitely.
I've been dropping massive hints, and no one's ever actually like, guessed who it, guessing who
Put
it
the
was,
dots together.
stuff like that. Even though they're like, is it this guy? I'm like,
Well, then you're gonna have a big reveal at the end. That'll
Yeah,
be
there you go.
very surprising.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, is it this guy? You're 1% right.
Yes. I think, well, also, if you're going to do a mastermind character, if you're going to do that kind of character who is very much, he's a manipulator, and this can be a girl too, if she or he or them is a manipulator.
Could be a flying spaghetti monster.
Yeah, you never know. Make it where I think the interesting thing is, and I've never done it before myself, but I always wanted to, is turn the general public against the party.
Ooh.
Like, have it where the manipulator's like, look, these people are bad, I have evidence, and he does back it up somehow. It could be fake, it could be real, just back it up, and the whole public just goes just pretty much goes against the party. Oh, one second, guys. You can continue.
Okay.
Like, mastermind characters are sometimes hard to pull off too. I mean, they're just like, like, like it could like really all fall into place like out of order and all that, but that's okay, and that's how you can like learn from your mistakes as a DM to what kind of characters.
Yeah.
My favorite kind of character is basically the character that my favorite villain is the villain that made the journey to what they are and stuff like that. Like it doesn't even have to be like they had a tragic backstory. It's like the entire campaign is their journey to be like this all powerful version of themselves and all that.
Definitely.
And they basically,
I've done that before myself too.
It basically like they do what they can to fucking make sure their goal is met.
It's achieved.
It's achieved and stuff like that. And you like players like try their best to like try to stop them and all that. And that is like it's so good.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I give an example: the Ebon Dragon from Werewolf, where his whole thing was he wanted to control the outcome of the final battle and become the true one god. Like, that is interesting in my opinion. Like, I like those kinds of characters a lot, where it's not only a journey for the NP for the players, it's also a journey for that person.
Mm-hmm.
But also, yeah, definitely, if you're a DM, do not be afraid to have the general public turn against your heroes. It's very interesting when that happens. It's and depending on the group, it can either be like a really sad moment, or it could be like, oh hey, more XP, let's get them, kill them all.
Ooh, that brings up an interesting point. As a DM, like, are there any differences or ways that a DM would need to tweak their campaign or how they DM'd if their group decided to be all evil?
Yes, there are ways
Yes,
to do it.
there are ways.
Okay.
Have contingency plans. Always.
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 Thanks, Snape.
It'd be fun to do someday, have an all evil group.
I think that'd be fine. Honestly.
I'm doing it for I'm basically a superhero trilogy campaign. I'm basically having them all in like kind of like seasons and all that. And basically in the second season is where my players are going to be all villains and stuff like that in the same universe too. It just happens like time lapse after the first campaign.
Yeah, our universe that we made together.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, so definitely I will say this. One thing I will say, that if you are going to do an evil campaign, either you started off everyone is evil, just so it's easier, you know, or if people do turn evil and such, and either the whole party does or at least a good portion of it, I think it would be really impactful then for them to kind of overthrow the big bad that you planned, and then they become the bad guy, and they become the...
Shut up! That might happen.
I know.
Shut up! It might happen in one of my campaigns.
Would it be that would be hilarious. And then if you're gonna do an evil campaign, like for real, don't be scared to put comedy in it.
That's another thing too. Like, just like loosen up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, don't be afraid to like be a little comedic. You guys can agree because you played some of my games and all that. I can do comedy bits really well and all that. Even though it's even if it's like, you know, like serious, I still like throw in like some comedy in a little bit too, mix them well and all that. And it's just for like the sake of like, you know, like keeping that world alive widely, as well as like oh god, we just witnessed a horrific travesty.
Yeah, you did that with
drinking
with Bones in your pirate campaign, and he was pretty funny.
Oh, yeah.
Suds.
Oh, why did I call him Bones? Because he was just a bunch of bones, wasn't he?
Well,
he was a skelly boy.
He was a skeleton that drinks. He drinks, but every time he drinks liquid, it does not come like pouring out of his mouth. It's just gone.
Yeah.
Like he's actually like it seems like he's actually drinking the liquid. I think the funniest thing I've ever done with that character, and I've done this with Big Iron and all that, where this is where like it got really, really fucking scary. Like so basically these guys are fighting a demon in a church, like in Port Royal. Like this is in the pirate campaign, and like right now it was like a middle of a massacre going on right now, and like his character's wandering in the dark, stuff like that, with a lantern, and he found Suds, just his head, and he goes like shh, don't be quiet, it's still here, and stuff like that. Like whatever this demon monster is like lurking around, and then he goes like, grab me my tankard, and then he's like, oh right, and he kind of like Zach as he puts it, sorry, Big Iron as he puts it, he scarcely like just grabs this tankard and starts walking with him and all that. He goes, pour the ale in my mouth and just drink. He goes, okay. He drinks it. He goes, thanks. I was really thirsty there. He just fucking had the really look in his face.
I'm like, you motherfucker.
Everyone just burst out laughing.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Oh fuck, that was good. That memory's gonna be stored
forever. Oh, hey, at 7:20 or so, we should probably
yeah, we got about,
don't forget the bonfire.
Yep, we got about 8 minutes, so I guess we're gonna wrap up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely with I've always felt like comedy is okay, but know when to use it and know when to not use it. All right,
like
don't be like Japanese Dragon Ball Z, where like, you know, oh no, Frieza's gonna get the Dragon Ball slide whistle. That just ruins the mood. Like just read the room when it comes to that and know when to do it.
Unless you're doing over like a Discord or like video chat or Zoom or whatever and stuff like that.
Yeah, but you know what? You can still kind of listen to the room.
I quote unquote read the room.
Yes. But one other thing I will say, as a DM, I've been doing it for so long. It's one of the most frustrating, nail-biting, ball-numbing, but most satisfying, fun experiences you can do. because you can. It's stressful, but it's also so fun to do to being a DM.
And it's so satisfying when you get to see
Yes.
people interact with your stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's just you'll never. There's nothing that feels that way. Like even if you write a book or do a movie or something like that, you're having people in real time react to it. It's so beautiful. Like especially when you can get those players to have an emotional reaction, whether it be something sad happen or they're happy or something. Just it's that's why I DM. It's mostly so I can get that feeling of euphoria as people are yeah are are experiencing this world that I'm creating, and they're creating as well.
And that, like, even if you're a shyer, more timid person, which I am usually when I'm not angry.
Yeah.
And I was so worried, and I kept putting it off, and I was so nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, everybody's gonna hate it. I'm gonna be terrible. And then I did it, and it wasn't that bad. And I got that feeling. It was super fun to be sitting around with all my friends and having and guiding, and then having them play it out. It was just a lot of fun.
That's why you do it. That's why you DM a game with friends.
Yeah.
So if you do it with a bunch of strangers, that's kind of awkward to me.
I mean, you know what? It can be, but like if some people, right, maybe they want to have the awkwardness with strangers, and that way they can just leave.
Yeah, pretty much. Just whatever. Bye.
I'm gonna throw in some other tips too. Like one of them is be consistency with your, I guess, time and schedule and all that. If it's like like make sure you guys have like know or get a general sense of how long you think the campaign's gonna go and all that, or like how long each session is gonna go. Like usually what we do is we basically do like 3 to 4 hours a session and all that. That's usually our usual runtime and all that. And stuff like that. Even if you're doing like a session once a month and all that, it's okay. But like just I guess manage your time and stuff like that, like time management and all that. Another good tip is be patient with your players, please.
Yes.
Like if the players aren't like interacting and stuff like that, there's some players like kind of be like shy and timid and all of that. Allow make how I do it. Like sometimes I try like get them like involved too to make sure like they're also also comfortable too. Like say, hey, you want to say something and all that. Like make sure everyone gets a voice and stuff like that. Even
definitely.
Sometimes that can go sideways in a way though too. But it's okay to again, right? It's okay to make mistakes. It's even if it's perfect.
It's a learning experience.
No one's perfect.
Constantly.
No one's perfect. Even Perfect Cell's not even perfect.
Nice.
The third tip I want to give out too is know when to put your foot down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just because
boundaries.
Put your foot down when when people aren't like are I guess aren't like are causing a ruckus and being like I guess rambunctious and not paying attention and stuff like that. Just I guess make noise or try to get their attention, all that. Maybe like clap your hands, like hey guys and all that, like, or maybe raise your voice and say hey we gotta focus guys and stuff like that, like and such.
If they're really bad, you can punish them in game.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like
you should punish them.
Yeah, or like guys, roll a perception. They're not paying attention. Guys, perception. Guys. All right, you start like pointing out minis. You don't even have to have minis there too, but you could be like, be like, suddenly you're attacked.
You missed the perception because you weren't paying attention.
Yeah, that usually actually does make everyone turn their heads back to the game, and it's like, hey, you're being attacked. What?
And then also kind of that also adds like the quirkiness of the quirkiness of like each of the game group too. Like like, and fourth one is find your. I'm gonna say this with. I say this with characters and stuff like that. Like find your flow, find your vibe, find your like what makes you makes it you jam with campaigns and stuff like that. And it's okay to experiment. Like, don't be afraid to get all weird and stuff. Like, get out of your comfort zone with that stuff like that. This is how you learn and how you. And I'm gripping the table and all this, like on a makeshift podium on my desk and all that. So basically, like
Your standing desk.
I don't even have a standing desk.
Anyway, sorry.
So basically, like, don't be afraid to get all creative with imaginative things and all that. It's not a bad thing to be that imaginative. Some people may not like it. Some people probably won't vibe with it or stuff like that. But just it is okay to experiment with that kind of stuff. It is. It's what if it flows with you and people like the way it is, keep on going and stuff like that. The world is your fucking oyster and stuff like that. I'm gonna be cliche, sky's the limit, blah blah blah, go your way, Hakuna Matata,
Don't lose your way.
Don't lose your way, into the unknown, blah blah blah, let it go.
Shinji, get in the robot.
Hold on, let me look at my fucking believe in yourself, stuff like that. You get the general sis.
So yeah, any more tips?
I guess my final tip is relax, have fun. It's just a game.
It's just a game, guys. Come on.
Come on, seriously. It's not like you're playing for money or anything like that. You're literally playing a board game or a role-playing game. Like, that's just you're
playing pretty much Cowboys and Indians, but with dice.
You're not.
It's a game, guys.
It's a game. It's a game. Chillax, relax.
No,
you must chill.
No.
That's all I get. That's all I got.
Yeah. Good tips.
Yeah. Winter, do you have any tips before we leave, or?
No, I think that's it for me.
I think the one tip I will say before we leave, this is the last one, is for those who are starting out, and this is for those who are still around, who have done this for a long time, is DMing is a job, but it's a fun job. Just remember, people do appreciate what you're doing. They may not say it. It'd be great if they did.
I was going to say, it'd be great.
Yeah, but you are appreciated for doing this service, because not a lot of people have the balls to be a DM.
Yeah, it's difficult. It does take work.
It takes a lot of work, and sometimes it's unforgiving work.
And it can be stressful. It could drive you fucking bonkers. Hell, you could be the guy that DM'd through an entire pandemic of last year of 2020. I'm not naming names, but it's mostly me
and me, bitch.
No, but
that's a good tip for.
No, but I did the most of it.
Oh, whatever. Anyway,
that's a good tip for players too. Is to think about things from your DM's perspective and how much they're putting into it, and show appreciation occasionally. You know,
we're not the enemies, guys.
We may seem like it, but that's because we have to be the enemy.
We have to play it.
Yeah. Also, bribe us with cookies. You might get XP.
It's true. My fiance Crystal knows that bribing me with cookies to get extra XP. Isn't that right, sweetie?
Such debukers can't really say goodbye. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's right. Oh shit.
All right, I guess we're gonna end it for this week on the Sanity Checks podcast.
Yeah.
Thanks for guys for coming along. We'll see you next week. We don't know what's the next